I'm David Robertson, and this is another one of my blacksmithing videos. Today we'll be dealing with scrolls, and we'll be looking at three different types. This first one is a Fishtail Scroll, and it's made on 1/2" round bar. The second one is a penny scroll, and it's made on 3/4 by 1/4 flat bar. And then the third one is an organic flare scroll, and it's made out of 1/2" round bar as well. And we'll get started. So I'm starting with the flat bar, and this is the penny scroll. First I'm knocking off the corners, making a popsicle stick shaped end on the bar. I'm knocking these back in at 45 degrees. Just trying to round them off so it's nice and smooth. Now I'm notching it. I'm trying to notch so I have more or less a square blob on the end of the bar, and then I'll round the corner off in the bottom of the shoulder. And obviously done on the far side of the anvil. Now I'm going to twist it 90 degrees in the vise, and this takes it out of plane of the original bar. And then I'll go back in and refine the shape, make it a larger penny shape or round shape, and then smooth that twist out so it disappears. I'm using a rounding hammer. It's one of my favorite hammers to use for spreading the material in all directions. It's convex on one surface and flat on another, and it really moves the material quite quickly. And here I'm stretching it out into the circular shape, and this will thin the bar out fairly dramatically. Refine the shape. The smoother you get the circle and the smoother you get the transition, the better the scroll will be. So I start the scroll, I tuck the penny down in, and then I work it on top of the anvil. This particular scroll I didn't use any jigs for. You just keep repeating the process. Eventually you develop a nice scroll. If you find that you close it too tight using this method, you can go back in with a bending fork and just open it up a little bit. Keep everything flat and true as you go along. So here I switch over to the fishtail, and what I'm doing is I'm using the cross peen of the hammer, and I'm flattening out the very end of the bar just on one side, and that creates the fishtail form. You can see it developing there. I do the initial curvature over the horn, and this one I will use a jig on. Get the scroll started. That's the scroll jig that I'll be using. And it's just a piece of 1/4 by 1 flat bar that's been welded onto a piece of angle iron that clamps in the vise. You could also weld it onto a hardy stem that would fit in your anvil, whichever works better. And then I'm just clamping with a pair of slip joint pliers and bending it around the scroll form in sections. Go back for a reheat. I have to do this in about 3 heats. Now, scroll forms or scroll jigs are important when you're making multiple scrolls, because each scroll needs to be virtually identical. So this is the last type of scroll, and this is the organic flared scroll, and I'm just simply putting a point on the 1/2" round bar right now, just something to give it a delicate finial. Then with any points, I'm pointing it square and then I round the corners off. And I'm tapering this back a little bit further on the anvil. Now I'm curving the very tip over, just a little bit. And then I'm working it over the horn. And this starts the initial bend, or the initial shape to the scroll. And as an example, I'm getting in with the bending forks just to change the angle and change the shape. Keep that curvature rolling around. So now I've switched over to the rounding hammer again, and I'm thinning out the side on the outer curvature, and I'll thin it out to about a 1/16 of an inch and try and leave the inner side at the 1/2 inch, and this increases and tightens the curvature all around the scroll. Try and work it evenly. You're looking for a nice flow and form and shape. I find the rounding hammer works best for spreading the metal along one edge. And this does take multiple heats. You have to thin the material out quite a ways. And again, I'm working for a nice even taper all the way back to the parent material of the 1/2 inch round bar. You can see how the shape's beginning to develop. I really am coming down quite strongly on the one side. So in cross section the bar looks like a thin triangle with the point off to the edge of the anvil. A few more heats and it will finish up. If you have other interests in blacksmithing, I invite you to check out my website, artistblacksmith.com. And you might be interested in joining my free membership, which gives newsletters and articles, and I go into a lot more detail on all the techniques. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and once again, check out my website, artistblacksmith.com.